Let us start the class. In today's class, I am going to explain loops in Java. Okay. First of all, let me create a project. Click on here. It is VS Code, Visual Studio Code. Click on Show and Run commands. Create a Java project. Then Show and Run commands. Click on. Okay. No build tools. Click on no build tools. So it opens your computer folder. Is delaying today. Okay. There's open delay opening. So under the C drive, select a folder. This is VS Code Java. This is the location of my folder. Here, type a name of folder. Okay. Folder name loops. Okay. Capital loops. Enter. You enter yourself. Then maximize this one. Click on this source. So you will get a source default file of Java. Click on this. Rename. This is the default source file app.java. You need to change it as loops. Enter. Now the file name will be changed as loops. Okay. Some more time it has taken. Okay. What is happening? Not changed. Change this to loops again. So it is now, this is your file name, loops.java source file. So change your class name also, loops. Already I told you that. Your file name loops.java. So your class name equal to loops. Okay, this is the main class. I have changed the main class name, but this is the main method. Main method can't be changed. Okay, main method name can't be changed. Main method name can't be changed. Main method name can't be changed. We need to keep as it is, but we can change the class. Main class name is the main class. Whatever the name you want to change, you can change it. Always the main class name, access modifier public. If you don't want to keep this, default modifier, access modifier will be alerted to this. Okay. Normally, generally it is public, because what do you mean of public means this class and its attribute members, data members means attributes and class methods. They will be accessed from another class also. That's why it is public. Data members. What are data members? Data members of this class. Data members are what? Attributes, class attributes. Attributes means, suppose a variable is there, int type, int x. X is a variable, it holds a integer type of data. As per every line of statement, every instruction must be terminated with the semicolon. Okay, this is a variable. Okay, this is a variable. Okay, so these variables are called attributes. Okay, attributes, sometimes fields, okay, fields and class variables sometimes. As per situation, depend upon situation. Class variable. When class variable it is called, if this attribute, whenever this attribute called with the class name, so it is class variable. Whenever this variable is accessed by object, so that is called instance variable. Okay. These are data members. Now this is a method. So all these method and attributes, they will be accessed publicly. That's a public. Class name. Class is a keyword to declare a class. This is a class name. In Java, everything is class and objects. Okay. So without any class, we can't declare. Okay. Suppose if this attribute means this variable x holds 8 integer value, it is to be kept under, it is to be declared under a class. After that method, main method must be there. So main method, whatever the statements you want to write here, you can write here. Okay. But you can interchange this public static. Okay. You can interchange this public static. Public static. There is no issue. This is what string array arguments. In place of argument, you can keep my name. That is what arguments, that is the name of array. This is the symbol for array, string array, name Vasu. In place of array, you can get ellipses, 3 dots. These are ellipses. There is no issue. You can do like that. So this is the printout statement. Okay. So now we will come down. Now we will try to understand for loop. For loop in Java, normally for loop will be used iterations. Iterations are fixed. Fixed means if the loop rotation, how many times the loop to be rotated over a program, over a programming, some lines of code. So that is if that looping, how many times the loop to be traveled through the program. If it is fixed, for loop is better to use. Okay. Now come for loop, how to implement for loop. Let us see. First of all, keyword for, okay, in brackets. Okay, this is the syntax. Try to understand. First of all, we need to set the I value as initially 0. Okay, I is what? Index, otherwise variable. Its initial value set to 0. This is integer type. Next, condition. Condition is what? Suppose condition, you are stating that I less than or equal to 5. I less than or equal to 5. So until I less than 5, 0 is less than 5. Whenever I equal to or less than 5, loop rotates. Next, this is incrementation and decrementation. Then after, open brace, a close brace. Within this brace, you need to put a statement. Statement like what you know, system dot out print ln. Here, suppose my name is Vasu. Vasu is a string. Okay. Now, try to understand what happened here. So this is one string type of data I have kept. So this string type of data will be printed. Will be printed. How many times? Until this loop, this condition is satisfied. Whenever this condition is not satisfied, this print statement will not be printed. Okay. So see, first of all, what is happening here? Let us see. How many types was printed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times. Why 6 times? Try to understand. Whenever I is equal to 0, so I less than equal to 5. 0 less than equal to 5. 0 is less than 5. So was printed. So next, incrementation. Okay. Initially it is 0. Now I less than equal to 5. I less than 5. Incremented. Printed. Now I equal to 1. 1 is less than 5. So I incremented 2. 1 plus 1. 2. Printed was. Next, I is equal to 2. 2 less than equal to 5. Okay. I plus 2 plus 1. 3. Every time 1 will be incremented. 3. So was printed. Okay. So next, I is equal to what? Whenever it is 4. 4 less than 5 was printed. So 4 plus 1, 5. Whenever I is equal to 5. So I not less than equal to 5. So I equal to 5. So one more time also will be printed. So whenever I is equal to 5, so even though this condition 5 equal to 5, so condition is satisfied. So 0 to 5, 6 times. Whenever I is equal to 6, so I is equal to 6, I 6 less than 5. Wrong. 6 greater than 5. So condition is false. So loop terminates. Loop terminates. This is called for loop. So in for loop, what happened? Try to understand. Whenever iterations are fixed, so how many iterations are we want to loop? How many times this loop to be iterated? Iterated means iteration means travel. Okay, iteration. One word in programming. The iteration. Here iteration. Iterations fixed means loop rotates. How many times loop rotates? So 0 to 5, 6 times. Okay, you know how many times the loop to be rotated as a program. Then using a for loop is easy. Okay. Okay. So here situation is what? Okay. So how many types of for loops? 3 types of for loops. 3 types. Okay. 3 types of for loop. What are they? One is simple for loop. Next, for each loop. For each loop, comma. Otherwise, it is called enhanced for loop. enhanced for loop. Third one, labeled for loop. Labeled for loop. Okay. So there are three types of for loop. Simple, for each loop. Second one, it is called as enhanced for loop. Okay. Labeled for loop. Third one. So let us try to understand. So this is whatever we have tried to understand. This is simple for loop. Simple for loop. Okay. Now, see what happened. If, as I told you that, it has simple for loop, three condition. One is that this local one I means simply you can say variable, otherwise index. Okay. So it is to be initialized. Initialized means it is to be started with the 0. Okay. Yeah, it is your choice whether you want to keep from 0. If you want to keep normally whenever I have kept 0, so from 0 to 5 print will be taken. How many times? 6 times. How many times? This is 6 times. 0 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. So if I remove, if I start, if I initialize this I variable as 1, so the count up to 1 to 5, only 5 count will be there here. Only 5. So if I change this one is equal to, then what happens? Okay, I less than 5. Condition to be satisfied, always I less than 5. So whenever I equal to 5, up to I 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 printouts will be done. Whenever I equal to 5, so 5 less than 5. Condition wrong because I equal to 5. So if I kept equal to here, so then one more 5 from 1 to 5 print will be taken. Whenever, if I remove this equal to, whenever I equal to 5, 5 is less than 5, statement is wrong. So only you will get 4 printouts. Last printout will not be executed. Only you will get 4 printouts. Okay. So this is incremented. Otherwise, you can do the decrement also. You can do the decrement. So this is the symbol for decrement. Decrement means every time, for every iteration, every one-time loop rotates. Whenever it prints, whenever I is equal to 1, it prints. Okay, whenever I is equal to 1, okay, condition will be checked. I less than 5, yes, 1 is less than 5. So then it is, if you keep it is for incrementation, it will be incremented to 1. So I is equal to initially 1. So I will be 2. So then print this line of statement will be executed. So print for I for 1, print will be printed. So now I is equal to 2 because it is increment. Before going to print, it will be incremented. So now I equal to 2. So 2 is less than 5. Condition is true. I plus plus I incremented to 3, like that. Okay. So you can decrement this also. How it is happened? Let us see. Whenever I is equal to 1, whenever I is equal to 1, so I less than 5, I decremented. So I decremented to what? Now I equal to decremented. It is initial value. You have initialized. Initialize means starting. You initialize English may, what do you mean of initialization means starting of that. So this variable set started to 1. Value already you have initialized it with 1. Okay. Now it is decremented means 0. So you need to do what? In this moment, you need to start from as I told you that it is fixed. So what is our statement? Whenever iterations are fixed. So you know how many iterations. So you need to start with 5. Otherwise 6. 5. So initially I is equal to 5. So I less than equal to, you need to write the condition here 1. Okay. So initially I is equal to 5. So I less than, you need to do here greater than. Okay. So I, whenever you want to decrement, so fixed, your iterations are fixed. My iterations fixed to what? 5 times. 1 to 1 to is equal to. Okay. 1 to greater than or equal to. This is the error because no, you need to put the is equal to here. So I greater than or equal to 1. So up to 1 to 5 times iteration. Okay. Every time I will be decremented. So see, whenever I is equal to 5, okay, now I greater than or equal to 1. Yeah, it is greater than to 1. So now I decremented. Now I is equal to 4 was superinted. So now I is equal to 4. I 4 greater than 1. Yeah, true. So I decremented. Now I is equal to 3. I is equal to what? I is equal to what? 3. Okay. Now it is printed. So now I is equal to 3. I is equal to, for 5, 4, 2 printouts done. Now I is equal to 3. So I 3 less than greater than 1. Okay. Now I decremented to 2. Okay. Now one more time printout. So now I is equal to 2. 2 is greater than 1. Okay. I decremented to 1 to print it. So how many times? Now whenever I is equal to 1, so 1 greater than 1, wrong, but I is equal to 1. 1 is equal to 1. So whenever I is equal to 1, so 1 to 5, 5 times print out, you will get the printer. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 times. So here, as per our statement, fixed iterations, programmer knows that there are some fixed iteration. Iteration means looping. Every time it is printing and going, okay, and checking this condition. This is called initialization of the variable. Initial start of the variable. Okay, set the variable. Okay, it is the condition. This is the decrement and increment. Before that, we try to do with the incrementation. Now I have started with decrementation. So how many times this is the decrement? Okay, now let us see. If I don't want to, just I want to print I values. I values. Every time I values, you will get the numbers. Okay. First, whenever I is equal to 5, okay, I will be printed. Then whenever decrementation, now I value 4, 4 will be printed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let us see. This is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now, if you want to get the printout statements from 1 to 5, otherwise 0 to 5. So you need to set this initial value 0, okay, from 0 to 5. So it is to be I less than equal to 5. Okay. So now you will get the printout up to 0 to 5. 0 to 5. You will get the printout 0 to 5. You don't want to 0. So use initialize this to 1. You set this I to 1. And you want to 1 to 5. Okay, this is okay. You will get 1 to 5. But you want to get only 1 to 4. So that moment, remove this is equal to. Then what happened? Okay, you will get only up to 1 to 4. 1 to 4. So these are the numbers increment. How to use the for loop for printing string. One string to be printed multiple times, 5 times, fixed times. Otherwise, numbers to be printed by incrementation and decrementation. Okay. So this is the for loop. Okay. So if you want to print, if you want to print only the even numbers, only the even numbers. What are even numbers? We know even number is that if a number is divisible by 2, the remainder is equal to 0. That is called even number. Even number is what? If number divisible by 2, then remainder is equal to 0. If number divisible by any number divisible by 2, then remainder is equal to 0. So let us see, suppose 14 is a number divided by 2 is equal to what? Remainder is equal to what? 2 sevens are 14. Remainder is equal to 0. So this is even number. Okay. Suppose if I take one more number, that is 79 divided by 2 equal to what? This is 2 3s are 6. 19. 2 9s are 18. 2 9s are 18. So remainder is equal to 1. So if remainder is equal 1, remainder is equal to remainder equal to 1. Remainder, if remainder is equal to 1, so it is called odd number. So if you want to print only the even numbers, so we need to do little bit of changes from this code, that is equal to so if you want to get only that is what your even numbers, so you need to do some what, you need to do a little bit of change of code. I is equal to I plus 2, and this initial value must be set to 0. What happened? Initially it is 0, so 0 will be printed. Now I value is equal to 0. So then after I less than 5, 0 less than 5. So condition satisfied, I 0 printed. Now I incremented to 0 plus 2. Now I value 2. So whenever I is equal to 2 less than 5. 2 less than 5. So 2 value will be printed. Now I incremented 2 plus 2, 4. Every time it incremented to 2. So every time even number will be taken. Okay. So in between only 5, how many even numbers are there? 2, 4. Only two even numbers you will get the printout as. How many times? 0 to 4 only. If you want to get more, you increase this number. So up to 0 to 10 means up to 8. If you want to get the 10 also, you need to put is equal to here. Okay, I less than or equal to. Okay, then you will get the 10 also. Okay, 10. Okay, if you put 1 in place of I, initially its value, you initialize I value, variable value as 1, you will get the wrong answers. Why? Because, so initially it prints 1, then it is incremented to 1 plus 2, 3. 3 is odd number. If you want to get the odd numbers, you need to put this, its value, variable value, you need to set as 1. So you will get all the odd numbers. Okay, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Because 9 only you want to get up to 10. Okay, you want to get all the odd numbers. You want to get all the odd numbers. So its initial value you need to set to 1. Okay, odd numbers. If you want to get all the even numbers, its initial value set to 0 and it is incremented every time plus 2. Okay, so 0 plus 2, 2, and 2 plus 2, 4, 4 plus 2, 6, 6 plus 2, 8, 8 plus 2, 10, up to is equal to 10. Okay, you will get only, these are odd even numbers. If you want to get only odd numbers, its initial value, I is a variable, it is an integer type of variable, it holds integer type of data. You need to initialize, start this value as 1. Okay, understood that? So this is the way how to get the odd numbers and even numbers by using a for loop. Okay, now I'm going to explain second one is that, what is that for each loop? Okay, up to now we have tried to understand simple for loop. Okay, to print the strings, to print the numbers by incrementing or decrementing. Okay, after that, how to print even numbers and odd numbers by using a simple for loop. So I'm going to explain for each loop. Okay, for each loop, used to iterate through collection of objects, comma, values, comma, elements, whatever. You simply say that, okay? Elements. Okay, now what happened? So for each loop, use it to iterate. Iterate, I told you that this means iterate every time travel through. Okay, otherwise traverse. One more word, traverse. TRAVERS, traverse means travel, journey. So it travels every time. Okay, through collection of objects. What? Suppose in Java, list is called array. In Python, list, it is called list to tuple. Okay, set. So many lists are there in Python. Here in Java, array is there. Okay, array is what? It holds collection of values, a collection of elements. Nothing but a value. Okay, array. So many arrays are there. String type of array, integer type of array. Means what? If that array holds string values, only string values, that is string type of array. If that array holds integer type of value, it is called integer type of array. So in Java, how to declare array? Array is a simple list. Okay, try to understand. Don't be confused. Array means it holds multiple values. See how to declare array. First, we need to declare that it is which type of array. It holds integer data type. Okay, array symbol, square, bracket. This is called array symbol. Okay, Next name. Suppose it is num. Num is a variable. Where it is a variable which holds only what? It is integer type of. So okay, always flower braces. You type like this. Okay. Now what happened? This is what? This is one array. So now if you want to print out all these elements, otherwise values. So one list is there, one array is there. These are called actually objects. Okay. Now come down here. If you want to, by the for loop, we can travel through each element and we can get the printout. Oh, syntax is what? For bracket. Okay. This is called for each loop. For each element of each element will be represented with a variable I. Okay. Then variable. First of all, we need to say it is which type of. It is integer type of. After that, I. I is what? I is a variable which holds every time a value. Then column. Okay. Now array name. Okay. Now it is okay. Now once it is okay, now open flower brace and within this put a printout statement system dot out println within the bracket. Okay, you pass I. You pass the I. Println bracket I and terminate with the semicolon. Now, what happened? This is the syntax. Okay. This is the syntax. This I is loop for. Okay, now one more for each loop. What is the meaning of this? Duplicate local variable I. Okay, duplicate local variable. Here already you have declared as a I. So again you have declaring here. If it is giving error, we will change. There is no any issue. It is giving error. Duplicate local variable. Okay. Duplicate local variable. Why local variable? This is declaring inside of a method. Okay, that's why it is called local variable. If a variable which is declared here, as I told you that this is what? Class variable. Class variable. So actually it is a variable. So if it is accessed by your class name, it is class variable. Otherwise, if it is accessed by the object, it will be instance variable. So sometimes if I want to declare it with the static keyword, so it becomes a class variable. Okay, static keyword use it to declare the variable, class variable as means attribute as class variable. Okay. So now you change this one to somewhat X, no issue. What is this X? X value of the loop. X is not used. Where is it is not used? So here you need to X, no issue. Now you try to get the printout. Why it is giving error? Because if I change this I as X, I need to call that X, na? So that's why. So here, if what I'm getting here, these are all the values of your list. List means array. In Java, this is num is a array. It is integer type of array. It holds this much of value. You can change these values as somewhere you have given 111, somewhere you have given okay this much, somewhere you have given okay this much, somewhere you have given this much, no issue. you will get print of all that numbers one by one. Okay. How? So this is called a for each loop used to iterate through collection of objects. These are the collection of objects, means it is a integer type of array which holds all the integer values. You declared integer type of array. If you want to keep the float value, it will not accept 3.8. So it will not, because this is integer. But in Python, so see, if we in Python, in Python, so a list is there. List simply you have declared with the square brackets. Always list will be declared in Python. List means array, square brackets, and the list can hold different values, different type. Variable, integer, float, this is a float, one string. A string can be represented double quotation mark or single quotation marks. This is a string type of data. Rahul, single quotation. Rahul. Okay. Rahul is it defined, declared in single quotation marks, and that is what Boolean. Boolean is what true or false here. True. Okay. Boolean, true. Then complex number 4 plus j. It is a complex number. So why it is giving error? Because it is list in Python. Just I want to brief what is, I want to differentiate what is array and what is list. Okay, comment this. Because it is in Java. So in Python, just I have written here. So in Python, list is equal to list holds different data types. List. This is the integer, it is float, it is the string. Okay, string means sequence of characters declared under double quotation marks and single quotation marks. That string can be kept in single quotation marks also. Also, we can keep the string in single quotation marks. This is the Boolean value in Python. Boolean values are yes or no, true, false. Okay, this is the complex number. Complex means this is the real part. This is the number part. Okay. This is the, sorry, imaginary part. This is the real part, number part. So this equal to this in Python, list is nothing but array like in Java. But difference is that in Python, list can hold different data types. But once you declare the array as integer, so you need to pass only the integer data types. You have passed the float value, so it will not accept. Mismatch, cannot convert from double to int. So you need to only integer values. Okay. This is that is that. So to travel through every time, the for each loop syntax is what you need to under the for loop brackets. So first of all, you need to say which type of array type. It is integer type, string type, whatever. It is integer type. And then variable name. One variable you need to it is one you need to initialize a variable every time. So because this value every time loop goes to here and take that value and store this in this variable. Okay. Whenever you call that variable x, so that value will be printed. So means initially loop goes to first position. That will be stored in this variable. Okay. And whenever you call that, that value will be printed. Value will be printed. Okay. Next goes to second value, and that will be stored in this variable. And that will be printed. Okay. And this loop looking for what? This array. This for loop traveling through, iterating through which array? This array. Array name is num. Okay. And then what? Suppose the string is there. The string type of array. This is a string type of array. Array, I told you that square brackets. Then array name. array name, suppose student, it is a student array, is equal in flower braces. Okay, student, we need to declare it is a string type of data. Try to understand. In the previous classes, I told you that only the string type of data in Java primitive data, non-primitive data type. So that's why it's first letter capital, but rest of the data int, float, they will be started with small letter. In the last section, I told you that all the primitive data type, they can't be used as objects, but only the string can be used as objects. Okay. And in the previous class, I have explained the primitive data type can also be used. A primitive data type can also be used as an object by the help of wrapper classes. Okay. So if you I have made a class over wrapper classes. Okay. And mostly wrapper classes will be used in collection of objects, collection library, like what you know, your array list, linked list. Okay, you can go there and see that. Okay, I have explained. So here, this is a string type of array. This symbol array name is student. Array name is student. So we need to only strings. It is duplicated, but duplicate not. But it is giving. We need to. We have missed one quotation marks. So it is to be terminated. So means what you know. What is this? Syntax error. Insert to complete local variable. Okay. This is a string. Student. So no issue. If you want to traverse these string array, you need to pass word int. You call this as x. Okay, no issue. You need to pass. You need to specify that which type of array, string type of array. Okay. And one variable I have taken. Every time this value will be stored in this, and you need to call that array type, array name is what? Student. This student array. So whenever I call x, so these string values will be printed. Student. How many times? Why? Because why? Because here 3, 1, 2, 3. 1 student. Here this loop also executed. This loop also executed. Why? Because try to understand what is the miracle is happening. You need to understand that. Okay. Whenever this is called, actually it is happening here nested loops. Nested loop means actually I need to conduct the class within this for loop nested loop. So by fortunately, luckily, nested loop executed here. Nested loop means within a loop, another loop is here. This is one loop, per loop. It prints up to 1 to 10 numbers. 1 to 10 odd numbers. Okay, 1 to 10 odd numbers. So 1, 3, 5, 7, like what you know. Last 9. So that's why last 9. Okay. 1, 2, it prints up to 1, 3. So initially this loop executed. This is called outer loop. This is called outer loop. This is inner loop. Why it is inner loop? See, this is whatever these all the statements they kept under this for loop within this brace. So called this loop, this open brace, and for this is the closed brace for loop. So within this loop, this is called a block of code. Okay. This is also a block, total a block of code. Block of code means from here to last here, these are the statements. So even though this for loop that kept under this for loop. So now it is outer loop, outer for loop. You comment here, outer for loop. Okay. This is inner. This is called inner loop. Inner loop. So now what happened? Try to understand what happened. So whenever I is equal to 1, whenever I is equal to 1, that I will be printed. I is equal to 1, condition checked, I less than 1 less than equal to 10, less than 10. Now incremented I to 2 means I plus 1 plus 2, now I is equal to 3. So initial that I 1 will be printed, then loop comes to next line of code, where the next line of code is this one. Okay. For this, you have declared a array of integer type, but you are not requesting for this array, integer array printing. You are requesting for this for loop. You are requesting to print this string array, not for this. So loop, this cursor comes here and it looks for this. Initially, this loop, outer loop executed first. First I is equal to 1, I printed, 1 printed. So now this I will be incremented to 3. Then cursor comes to this one, but it is, you are not looking for any printout, but you are looking for printout of this one. Okay, now string. Under this string array, these two values to be printed. One after two values. One, and then student. Then loop goes to next. Now I value 3. 3 means 3 will be printed. 3 will be I is equal to 3. Next, it comes here, it prints student 2 times. Okay. Again, it goes to I value is equal to now 3 plus 2, 5. After 5, these two values will be printed like this. Okay, 5. Then 5 student 2 times. Then 7 student 2 times. One outer loop value, inner loop value. Okay. It is happened. Huh? So this is a for loop. Huh? So this nested loop, I will explain separately. Okay, I will explain separately. Okay, next is what? Okay, so luckily, I want to explain the nested loops. Practically, unintentionally happen. How it is happened? This for loop, for each loop, part of this for loop. Okay, so you are getting the printout like this. Okay, one time for loop printer, one number printed, then this output from for each loop. Then this is the output of for loop. This is the output of for each loop. So if I don't want to keep, I want to keep every loop separates. So then you need to put separately this loop. Now this for each loop, it is not part of this for loop. This for loop is separate. Okay. And this for each loop is separate. But you need to do what? This is your for each loop. It is opened. It is up to for each loop closed here. But now still this loop is under for loop because your for loop, your open brace is here, your closed brace is here. So now means this for loop, for each loop part of your for loop. Let us see what happened here. So still we are getting same. Still we are getting same. This one, this is the output of for loop. This is the output of for each loop, like watching. So if you want to get separate printout statements, means 1 to all the odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 separately, then this for each loop printout statement. Okay, then you need to do what? You need to, this for loop, it is to be terminated. So this brace, you close here, you terminate the brace here. Okay. Now this for loop terminated. Okay. Sorry, not here. Here. Okay, not here. Here. Now see your for loop. It is opened here, it is closed here. Now this for loop under this block of code, whatever, it is part of this for loop. Okay, simple for loop. Now your array, integer type of array you have declared, and one string type of array you have declared. Now you have started the for loop, for each loop opened and it is closed. So now here you are requesting for x. X is where? X, it is a variable defined for string array. Okay. Now you try to get the printout. So this is happened here. Now here there's no any nested loop. All the odd numbers printed here. Next, these odd numbers are printed out of for loop. These are output of for each loop. Okay. So now if you want to implement the nested loops, how can we implement? Practically, I have shown one for loop and one for each loop. Now this for each loop become the part of your for loop. How? Just simply nothing. You remove this because your for loop started with this brace and it is closed. Now remove this one, and now put this total array, your int array, string array, and for each loop part of your this for loop. It is open brace here. This for loop, for each loop closed. Now you put one more brace, this brace here. Okay. Now what happened? Now this for loop opened here, closed here. Under this block of total block of code, whatever the statements you have written, even the for each loop, now it becomes your for loop. Now nested loop will be executed. This is nested loop. One output of for loop, then for each loop output, like watching. Nested loop, this is called. So I don't want to keep this for each loop, because for each loop it functions over, it iterates through collection of objects, especially lists in Python. Here arrays, okay, arrays and array lists, linked list, they will hold collection of values. Okay, so I don't want to use this for each loop. So you remove this brace here and you keep for loop separately. Okay, now within this loop, one more loop we need to declare, because as I told you, the for each loop, it functions over collection of objects. So here I want to, now you declare one more for loop. Okay, now for loop, within this bracket, you declare int. Here I is equal to 1. He take one more, j is equal to 1. Okay, comma. Next, j less than, put a condition, less than equal to 6. Okay, now this is so every time This is initialization of your variable. So colon, semicolon, next condition, semicolon, next incrementation, j plus plus one, j plus plus. So here I plus plus, because our variable is initial variable I, here j plus plus. Now open brace, close brace. Okay, means I told you that nested loops are what? A loop inside another loop. This is another loop. For loop, for this first loop, this outer for loop. So brace opened here, brace closed here. Okay. Now this for loop, one second for loop, outer for loop, it becomes the part of this for loop. You write this as outer for loop. Outer for loop. Outer for loop. Outer for loop. So now what happened? Here, within this, I need to put a printout statement. System dot println. System dot println. Now you print J. You request for the J printout of then semicolon. Sorry, colon. Semicolon. Okay. Now what happened? Now this for loop, it becomes part of this outer loop. So now what happened? Now this for each loop, that it becomes separate. Okay, now it is open for each loop and closed here. But this for second for loop, it becomes part of this for loop. Okay. Now what happened? So see what happened here. What will be the output? See what initially one, okay, outer loop executed, outer loop I is equal to 1, then 1, 2, 3, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. First one, outer loop I is equal to 1, then it is printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then 3. 3 is what? Odd number. Okay, first outer loop gives odd numbers. No? First 1 is equal to 1. Next odd number 3. 3 printed. Next second loop up to 5. Next first loop odd number. Then again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next odd number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next first loop odd number 9. Okay. Last output for each loop. So what happened here? Try to understand. What happened here? Try to understand. So initial, whenever I is equal to 1, that I will be printed. Then next cursor comes to next second loop, means this is outer loop, this is inner for loop. Sorry, outer, inner for. So normally in coding, whenever you struck means somewhere else you are unable to complete the coding and you are feeling some difficulty. So that happens. It is not only with you, even though me, anybody, programmer, it is our duty as a programmers, we will struck some everywhere. That is happened. So many times I struck. So that classes I have kept as it is. As it is, I have kept. That's why you see them and you get somewhat inspiration. Okay, it happens to anybody. Yeah. So nobody is perfect here. Okay, because we need to study a lot and somewhere else we will struck. So that moment, don't degrade and demoralize yourself, discourage yourself. You try to debug them, cool and try to debug them. Okay, it happens to anybody. Yeah. Okay, don't feel that. Okay, many classes, 2 or 3 classes I struck. I have taken 20 times more than class is going and unable to solve that. The class I kept as it is. Okay. So now, so how it is nested loops executed. So for the outer loop initial, whenever I is equal to 1, that I printed, then cursor comes to next inner loop. So here j is equal to 1, that j will be printed. Okay. So for first iteration of the outer loop, okay, the total, until the total numbers completed, iterations of the inner loop completed, for one iteration of the outer loop, inner loop will be executed for all the numbers. For one outer loop, one iteration of outer loop, all the numbers up to what? Up to j less than 6. J less than 6. So up to 1 to suppose 5. 6, whenever j is equal to 6, j 6 is less than 6, wrong. So 5, up to 5, 1 to 5. So for one iteration of I, how inner loop rotates how many times? 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then cursor goes to outer loop. So now whenever I is equal to now 3, the 3 will be printed, odd number. Now inner loop will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next outer loop executes odd number 5. Then inner loop executes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that. That is the printout. See what is that? What is happening here? For outer loop, initially 1 is that. After that, inner loop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next outer loop, second iteration. First iteration of outer loop, inner loop, all the numbers. How many times inner loop rotate? That is called iterate, travel 5 times. For one iteration of outer loop, 5 iterations of inner loop happen. So 5 numbers printed. This is the second iteration of outer loop. Then 5 iterations of inner loop. Like that happen. This is called nested loop. This is called nested loop is nothing but one loop. Inside of that loop, another loop is there. Okay. A loop inside of a loop inside of another loop. That is called nested loop. The same thing we have done. By luckily, I told you that initially I declared and defined a for loop. After that, for each loop, I had declared that for each loop kept under this for loop. As I told you that this brace, open brace. So my open brace, this for loop, for each loop kept inside of this for loop. By now this for each loop closed. It is open brace, this is open. So now this for each loop is separate. Okay. These two statements, because this for each loop works over collection of objects. This is a array. Array holds a collection of values. Okay. Now it is separate, but where is that? This for loop becomes part of this for loop, because this for loop, it is what? Open, closed, open, closed. Now this is the close of my for loop. So now the total these statements come under this for loop. Okay. These two braces forward your main method, main class. Main method, main class. This for loop, for each loop is separate. Now this for loop is part of this for each for loop. Okay. So this is called nested loops. Okay. If you have anybody have any doubts, you can make a call to me. My number 9110398650. Thank you. I think it is enough. Now I'm almost 6 o'clock. Lengthy class I have taken. Thank you. Now the class is being terminated. Okay, from where? Stop share. Okay. And